Welcome to the Wunderkammer, the place where you will find all the needed objects in order to discover yourself. But be careful, this cabinet of curiosities will uncover things you never wanted to see unveiled. This room will open the abyss of darkness for you. You will see how this darkness will lead you to the light you were searching for all this time. Wunderkammer is excited to be your guide to that light. Haunting tapestry of Flannery O'Connor's work. As a contemporary society, we are far away from genuine connection because of unresolved trauma and disconnection. The lamentation that a good man is hard to find, as voiced by Red Sammy, resonates as a mournful echo of a society grappling with the erosion of moral certainties. Everything is getting terrible. I remember the day you could go off and leave your screen door unlatched. Not no more. Reflects not only a nostalgia for a bygone era of supposed simplicity and safety, but also underscores the pervasive sense of unease and moral ambiguity that permeates the narrative. As characters navigate this murky terrain, their actions and motivations, which are deeply rooted in the complex soil of the human psyche, invite the readers to look beyond the surface of moral dilemmas and into the shadowy depths where the human ego, id, and superego engage in an eternal dance. This essay seeks to untangle these threads through a psychoanalytic lens, illuminating how the grandmother and the misfit, as complex figures, embody the profound psychological conflicts that drive the story towards its inevitable tragic conclusion. The slow revealing and conflicting of the main character's reality starts from the moment when the family gets in the car. This is a very interesting moment to look at more deeply, because the car can be seen as a microcosm of the family's reality of superficiality and dissonance. There is no deep connection between the children and the parents. All that is shown is the social concept of a family, which in reality is controlling when it comes to moral ideas and concepts. The interactions are filled with impatience, superficial affection, and no consideration of each other's internal realities. And because connections like that never work, the car ends up being crushed and useless. This is indeed the critique of every post-war American family, where social conformity is prioritized over genuine bonds. The grandmother persuades the whole family to not go to Florida. She always wants things to go her way. Flannery indeed succeeds into showcasing her self-serving motives, from the beginning to the last full stop of her work, through the elderly woman bringing the cat despite everyone's disagreement, up to convincing the whole family to visit an abandoned house. The grandmother greatly influences the family dynamics, where she constantly tries to assert her own morals and ideas, but all of those attempts result with the cat jumping onto her son Bailey and causing him to lose control of the drive, which further results with the car being flipped 2 times. Interestingly, her truest character reveals itself at the end when she calls the misfit a good man and one of her children, because when we're in a life-threatening situation, we want to get the best out of those who have more power in order to ensure our own survival. When people are in powerless situations, they are tempted to find the goodness in their captors because that calms them down and prevents them from feeling the deepest and most terrifying emotions of despair, helplessness, and powerlessness. I've noticed these kinds of behavior in stories about cults, abusive families, and captives. That's what essentially children in abusive families do when their emotional programming is not yet formed. They see the good in their parents and perpetrators in order to survive. This can be understood more through the theories of human behavior under stress, where ironically morality is the last thing we think about.
We've had an accident!
We've had an accident! We've had an accident!
Good afternoon. I see y'all had a little spill.
We turned over twice.
Once it. We seen it happen. Hiram, try the car. See will it run.
What you got them guns for? What you gonna do with them?
Lady, would you mind calling them children to sit down beside you? Children make me nervous.
What are you telling us what to do for?
Come here! Now!
Now look here. We're in a predicament. We're in...
Oh!
Why, you're the Misfit. I recognized you at once.
Yes, but it would have been better if you hadn't recognized me. Lady, don't get upset. Sometimes a man says things he don't mean.
You wouldn't shoot a lady, would you?
I would hate to have to.
Listen, I know you're a good man. You don't look like you have a bit of common blood. You must come from nice people.
Yes, ma'am. The finest people in the world. God never made a finer woman than my mother, and my daddy's heart was pure gold. Ain't a cloud in the sky.
Yes, it's a beautiful day. You shouldn't call yourself the Misfit because I know you're a good man at heart. I can just...
Hush! Everybody shut up and let me handle this.
I appreciate that, lady.
It'll take 30 minutes to fix this here car.
Well, first, you and Bobby Lee get him and that boy to step over yonder with you. The boys want to ask you something. Would you mind stepping back in them woods there with them?
Listen, we're in a terrible predicament. Nobody realizes what this is. I'll be back in a minute, Mama. Wait on me.
Come back this instant.
I'm sorry I don't have a shirt on for you ladies. We buried our clothes that we had on when we escaped.
That's perfectly all right. Maybe Bailey has an extra shirt in his suitcase.
I'll look and see directly.
Where are they taking him?
You could be honest if only you tried. Think about how wonderful it would be to settle down and not have someone chasing you all the time.
Yes, somebody's always after you.
Do you ever pray?
No. I was a gospel singer once. I've been most everything. Been in the armed service, both land and sea. Been an undertaker, been with the railroads, been in a tornado. Once I seen a man burnt alive.
Pray, pray.
I never was a bad boy that I remember of, but somewhere along the line I done something wrong and got sent to the penitentiary. I was buried alive.
That's when you should have started to pray.
Turn to the right, it was a wall. Turn to the left, it was a wall. Look up, it was a ceiling. And look down, it was a floor. I forget what I'd done to get put in there. I sat there and sat there, trying to remember what it was I'd done, and I ain't recalled it to this day.
Maybe they put you in by mistake.
No, it wasn't no mistake. They had the papers on me.
You must have stolen something.
Nobody had nothing I wanted. The head doctor at the penitentiary said what I had done was kill my daddy, but I known that for a lie. My daddy died of the epidemic flu, and I never had a thing to do with it.
If you would pray, Jesus would help you.
I don't want no help. I'm doing all right by myself. Throw me that shirt, Bobby Lee. Lady, would you and that little girl like to step off yonder and join your husband?
Okay.
Help that lady, Hiram. And Bobby Lee, you hold on to that little girl's hand.
I don't want to hold hands with him. He reminds me of a pig.
Jesus, Jesus.
Yes'm.
Jesus thrown everything off balance.
He hadn't committed any crime, and they could prove I had committed one because they had the papers on me. Of course, they never show me my papers. That's why I signed myself now, so I can hold up the crime to the punishment and see if I ain't been treated right. I call myself the Misfit because I can't make all I done wrong fit with all I gone through in punishment. Does it seem right to you, lady, that one is punished a heap and another ain't punished at all?
Jesus, pray. I know you wouldn't shoot a lady. I'll give you all the money I've got.
Lady, there never was a body that give the undertaker a tip.
Bailey boy!
Jesus was the only one that ever raised the dead, and he shouldn't have done it. If he did what he said, then it's nothing for you to do but throw everything away and follow him. If he didn't, then it's nothing to do but enjoy the time you got left by killing someone or burning down his house or some other meanness. No pleasure but meanness.
Maybe he didn't raise the dead.
I wished I'd been there to see. It ain't right I wasn't there, 'cause if I'd been there I would have known. Listen, lady, if I'd been there, I would have known, and I wouldn't be like I am now.
Why, you're one of my babies. You're one of my own children.
Take her off and throw her where you thrown the others.
She was a talker, wasn't she?
She would have been a good woman if it had been someone there to shoot her every minute of her life.
The Misfit reflects the fact that morality is nothing more than a concept that suppresses our true needs, desires, and trauma. The diminishment of his superego is demonstrated as a coping mechanism to the false accusations towards him and being punished by others. His actions, along with his philosophy, challenge the moral structures, and him as a character is written as an example of many misfits who do evil on this planet and therefore are perceived to be bad and immoral without seeing into the why, along with how one such person can become like that. According to Freud, the lack of superego results with psychopathy, since the superego is responsible for feelings of shame and social conformity. What the majority can see is the fact that in order for psychopathy to appear, there has to be a cause that completely makes a change of a person's psyche. The Misfit is the reflection of real-life personalities whose voices are unheard because of moral dilemmas. His direct rejection of social norms is the response to the created trauma which results as mentioned, especially religious and moral doctrines with which he is not just expressing nihilism or amorality, but reveals a deeply ingrained disillusionment with social constructs that have failed him. This can be profoundly explained with the following perspective. In the Misfit's ego, the rational part of the psyche that mediates between the id and the superego seems to be caught in a complex negotiation. On one hand, he exhibits clear logical thinking and a profound capacity for introspection. On the other, his actions are dictated by a deep-seated trauma that skews his perception of right and wrong. His ego is attempting to reconcile his inner turmoil with the external world's expectations, leading to a life that he himself deems as an outcome of being thrown off track. All of these complex processes lead to the death of the whole family, including the grandmother, despite her efforts to convince the Misfit that he is a good man. This climactic encounter underscores the tragic inevitability rooted in the characters' psychological landscapes and the societal constructs they inhabit. The grandmother's final act, an attempt to reach out to the Misfit, symbolizes a desperate plea for connection and understanding, a momentary collapse of her own constructed moral superiority in the face of death. Yet, it also marks a profound realization of shared humanity, a recognition too late to alter their fates, but powerful enough to momentarily disturb the Misfit's detached demeanor. O'Connor dives deeply into this typical family through Catholic themes and motives, joined together with the Tolstoyan stylistic choices of irony, symbolism, and foreshadowing, which resemble his masterpiece The Death of Ivan Ilych. Because of Tolstoy's ironic references to Ivan's unconscious choices and social conformity, along with the foreshadowing of his death through Ilich's sudden appearance of his illness, Flannery excellently describes the religious influence, or lack thereof, on the Misfit's actions as well. The Misfit's simultaneous reaction at the moment when he killed the grandmother is a clear demonstration of humanity's relationship with vulnerability, where one would rather kill than connect. This is the tragic reality check of how much we're disconnected in an advanced world, and when it comes to common families, it seems that we barely changed our title from the post-war American family to a genuine community. Flannery wrote about only a bit of the problem. The most tragic part is that she's not the only one. There are various authors who describe our unconsciousness in order to alert us and help us awaken. but humanity seems to avoid taking actions towards that result. And we can only think, how can we truly make a change and avoid tragedies as described? How can we connect to other people? How can we stop the cycle and form genuine connections? How can we stop this cycle and form genuine families? These are the questions that we all need to find our answers to if we truly want to change. Did you like the visit in the Wunderkammer? If you did, please like, subscribe, and share this content if you see it as helpful. Did you also notice the artworks in this video? They're not put accidentally. If you want to understand my philosophical reasons of why I put them in the video, you can become a crow on Patreon. In that tier, I'm posting the paintings and the contacts they have in the video. You can also see them like Easter eggs. But only crows can see through the messages, because they are messengers themselves. You can also become a raven. In that tier, you can ask me for answers and guidance about anything you're curious about, and you're going to receive a high-quality answer. I also have playlists on Spotify under my name, Katerina Lunas, if you need something to trigger and enhance your emotional experience. Can you hear the footsteps? They're the footsteps of illusion. It's coming. But what are you going to do about it? Accept it? Or do something about it?